how do I do it all? How do you do it all? You don't. You don't. You ask for help. We are community beings. We would not be here still today if our primal ancestors actually believed that they could not ask the other humans around them for help. They would have died. Somebody had to stay up at night to make sure you didn't get eaten by wildlife, which is why some people are still to this day night owls because their ancestors were probably the night watch. There were people who had to be up during the day and watch the people who were sleeping from being up at night, but also had to hunt and gather and do all of the things, take care of the babies together. Like we were communal at one point.
Hi, welcome to Say More Words, a podcast that was created to emphasize the human experience through stories. I hope that you come here to learn, to expand, and most importantly, learn how to say more words. Speak your story, speak your truth, boo boo. We're so happy you're here.
Good morning. Welcome back to another Get Ready with Me, because that's where we're at in life right now, where we're doing things when we can. So you're getting ready with me. Song of the day is Latch by Sam Smith. Um, I heard it a couple of weeks ago randomly, and now I can't stop listening to it. And it's just a happy song. And yeah. So Latch by Sam Smith. Friends, I missed you last week, but for good reason. I'm the co VP of fundraising for a nonprofit here in VFW. And we had our biggest fundraiser of the year. And as you can imagine, we were all buku stressed. Didn't sleep for 7 days, but the event was great. It looked amazing. I'm going to even try and convince Sumo to use one of my pictures from the event as the cover of this because I've never looked so good in my entire life. In my entire life. So if I can teach you one thing in this episode, maybe more, but one thing, hype yourself up. And you know what? A bitch looked fire. Um, but this week, we're not talking about how good I look, or looked, I should say. We are talking about the number one question I get asked. Because my life is kind of crazy. It is designed a little differently than most people. For the last few years, people have always asked me, like, where in the world are you today? Or um, like, when are you getting on a plane next? Where are you going next? Because I've spent the last few years traveling for my job, which is my most favorite thing on the planet. Traveling, getting to inspire people, meet new people, go to new places. I grew up kind of a tumbleweed, so travel has always been uh, one of my favorite things. And admittedly, didn't do much traveling last year. Haven't done much this year. More is coming. I know that. But I get asked all of the time, and all of the chaos and craziness of my life and all the things that I do and am a part of, how do you do it all? Like, how do you do it? And my favorite thing to tell people when they ask me that question is I don't. I don't do it all. And that question comes, and that is a primal based issue, especially for women who were raised by moms who were raised by moms who were raised by, like, if we go generations back, women couldn't work or didn't work. Their primary job was taking care of the household. And so we were raised by women who were raised that way, or raised by those women where it's like your main job is to take care of all of the people. Now, today that is still true. However, we've added working on top of it, nonprofit and philanthropy work on top of it. I think our kids today are in more sports than we ever were. The sports regime is insane. like signed up Calvin for baseball. I'm like, oh, cool, like spring ball, this will be great. It goes until August. Why? Why does it go until who knows? Okay, so our kids are in like much more intense sports lives than we ever were back in the day. And so, like, there is the pressure, whether stated or assumed, um, to do all of the things that the women of the past used to do because they weren't working. Like, obviously, managing the household and the mental load of the household, if that is your main job, I wouldn't even say it's easier. I'm not even going to say those words. It is easier if you're not also working. So we have that mentality built deep inside of us, but are still also doing all of the things and then added things on that they didn't have to deal with before. And so we think, and like if you're a dude, this also exists for you, this confusing time period, because with women in the workforce and doing things, that changes the way that men have to show up as well. And so, like, everything, gender norms, quote unquote, which, like, I even hesitate saying that because of like the climate of our country, but it, like, the gender norms of roles aren't the same today as they used to be, but we put the pressure on ourselves the same that it used to be. So then, you see a woman who is doing all of the things and putting, woman or man, putting all of this pressure on you to do all of the things. And part of it too, let me back up. Part of it is because we still have that old school, deep rooted belief that you can't ask for help. Is it just me? Were you also raised in an environment in which if you asked for help, you were weak or you were wrong or you just had to figure it out? Yeah, that, God bless the 80s and 70s parents who filled our hearts with um that belief. So we have all this, right? We have all the things going on. We can't ask for help. You shouldn't ask for help. You're weak if you do it. All of these are limiting beliefs that we keep really deep down inside of our heads. And then we think, you know what? I just have to figure it out. You just have to nut up and figure it out. That is not an easy way to figure it out, actually. That is a very low energy, a very diminishing energy, it's going to take you out by the knees energy. And I'm sure if you are listening to this still, you're like, yeah, it does every now and then. And I will tell you, even with all of the work that I do, it still takes me out by the knees sometimes. So how do I do it all? How do you do it all? You don't. You don't. You ask for help. We are community beings. We would not be here still today if our primal ancestors actually believed that they could not ask the other humans around them for help. They would have died. Somebody had to stay up at night to make sure you didn't get eaten by wildlife, which is why some people are still to this day night owls because their ancestors were probably the night watch. There were people who had to be up during the day and watch the people who were sleeping from being up at night, but also had to hunt and gather and do all of the things, take care of the babies together. Like, we were communal at one point. And at some point in our history, we decided that you should have to figure it out all by yourself and you don't need anybody. And I will tell you, friend, that is the quickest way to go downhill, is the belief that you by yourself are perfect and good and can figure it out. Because for the most part, we can't. Um, and this, I see this play out with my business owners. You know, a lot of the people working with me right now, I think I have about 50-50 men and women. And I have this conversation with both of them of, hey, like, do you think maybe you could ask somebody on your team to help you with that? Do we need to create a position? Do we need to pivot, move? Do you need to hire an executive assistant to help you do some of the things in both of your life and home? Like, we think that it is, especially in business, we're in business mode right now. We think that if we hire somebody to help us, that that is a um, expense. Well, I mean, it is an expense, and we think that that's bad. But that is one of the most powerful expenses you can have because it frees up your time. It frees up the things that you may be good at, but don't necessarily need to do. Somebody else can do it. And it frees you up for the mental capacity of your own zone of genius and what you are capable of. Same goes for the home. There are so many women who think that it is their sole responsibility. And thankfully, I have friends who have kids who are older than mine, who I have been lucky enough to do life with, who have shown me the path of like, hey, I can't do it all on my own. And so we think too, like, how do I do it all? Like, I'm going to have to pay for this. You don't have to. Call your friends, people. Call your people. The amount of times my friends have called and said, hey, like, I'm running behind. I have to go get this kid here, but this kid needs to be at this practice at the exact same time. Can you take one of the shifts? Absolutely. Absolutely, I can. What I found too with a lot of us, a good chunk of us are transplants, uh, or we don't have parents who are capable to help. Because that's when you sit in the space of like, how do I do this all on my own? There are some people who are like, well, I don't have family to figure it out. You don't have family, but you still got people. I'm sure you still have people that can help you figure it out. And all we have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask. And so if a friend calls and is like, hey, can you pick up my kid? Guess what? I'm going to make it work. Just the same way that they they do it for me. There was one time I was on a trip and it was icing over in DFW. And my kids were being, or my daughter at the time, Calvin wasn't in school yet. The kids were being let out of school. And I'm in Minneapolis. So I called my best friend Candace and I was like, Candace, I need you. You're already on the list. I need you to go to the school and pick up Frankie because I cannot. And she's like, got it. I'm on it. And went and got her. That is the power of community and having really strong people. That like the whole concept, especially if you live away from your family, of like, well, I don't have family here. I get personally offended by my friends when they say that shit because it's like, yeah, you do. It's us. We've created a family. We've created a community of people who are going to show up and help. So, like, use it. Use it. You are not alone. Very few of us are. If you are, like, send me a DM. Come join my community. My community is super strong, super great, and we show up for each other. We show up for our kids, we show up for our houses. Hell, sometimes we even go grocery shopping for each other. Like, um, I have a Sam's Club membership. Megan has a Costco membership. So whenever she goes to Costco, I'm like, hey, can you go get some of the things that I love? And when I'm at Sam's Club, I'll get some of the things at Sam's Club that you love. Like, getting back to a community mindset is truly how I do it all. Like, I don't do it all. If I did it all and said that I did it all by myself, that would be severely offensive to the people in my life who help make this life possible. So if you're like, oh, I'm so stressed and I can't figure this out and I need to do XYZ and blah, 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 like all of the like limiting things that we tell ourselves that, especially as women, like, I have to figure this out. No, boo, you don't. I bet you $1,000,000 if you called your best friend right now, they'd help you figure it out. They would help you figure it out. And then the best part about it is that at some point when you need that help, they're also going to show up for you. That's the power of community. That's the power of building a family that that is outside of blood or even in your blood if you're lucky enough to have your blood here. Like that is the power of people. You don't ever do things alone. As long as you have your people, your community, they show up. And if you don't have that, then find different people. Here's another thing. Um, a lesson from Keith Marchbanks from back in the day. There was a moment in high school where shit went down, and like it's high school and people suck and you suck, and like it's just teenagers suck. And I was having a really hard time with my friends, and Keith Marchbanks and all of his glory. Um, you know, the message was good, just not for like a 14, 13-year-old girl. But he was like, none of those people, when I was having issues with my friends, he's like, none of those people are your friends. You really only need 5 friends. And I was like, what? He's like, you really need to be decisive on who you decide is your friend and who you decide is not. And I was like, no, all of these people are my friend, Dad. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, they're not. He's like, I can name on one hand 5 people who are my people. They are my community. They're my family. They are my friends. If I call them right now, they're going to show up. And sure enough, the 5 people he named, all but one of them are the people who showed up for his funeral, despite all the things. And they were also the ones that went and visited him when he was behind bars and wrote to him and called him. And those 5 people, years later, 20 plus years later, well, gosh, even more than that, 30 years since he met them. Anyways, so he tells me this, and I lose my mind because I am a 13-year-old, and the most important thing on the planet is being popular and seen and having friends. But now as an adult, I'm like, oh, I get it, Dad. Like, your friends and your community truly are the people who show up, the people who are there, the people who hoot and holler and celebrate your successes and pick up your kids when you need them to, and or bring a meal or show up if something tragic is happening in your life. Like, the last few years have really showed me who the most important people in my world are, because they, like, without a doubt, are going to show up. My best friend Chelsea, she's been my best friend since we were 13. And like, I did the Tamika thing of like, you're my friend now. And I still think some days she wonders why she said yes to that. But still to this day, like, I call her, shit's going, I'm having a baby, my house is on fire. Um, I'm changing careers, I'm doing this. She shows up without question, without like asking what's going on next. She shows up, and she is my person. Why I say this and why, moved into the like people aspect of things is like, you can't do anything alone, and you need to have your people. You need to have people who have your back, whether it's one person or 5 people, it does not matter. But having discernment on who those people are, because they show up for you in the good and the bad. They show up for you when you're panicking. They show up for you when you're just like, hey, like, I'm putting on this major event and we need men to help with it. And then they jump on a plane a couple of days later and spend 24 hours basically unloading boxes and setting stuff up and then serving wine to people at an event like Sumo did last week. Like, your people show up for you. And here's the kicker: if they're showing up for you, you need to show up for them. You need to be there for them and be there through the hard time. Like, it really does suck that sometimes you realize that you can't truly do it all on your own when really, really hard things are happening. But that's also when you see who your people are. You see who shows up. You see who goes out of their way to make sure that you're safe and loved and cared for. And your people can be family. They don't have to be family. They can be the family you made. But if you are living under the pretense that you have to do this life all on your own and you have to figure it all out on your own, you are damaging you. Plain and simple. You are damaging you. That is not how it has to be. So if you're like in this space, right? It's a lot of information to take in. And it's a kind of a harsh reality too to sit and think like, okay, who's gonna show up? Especially sometimes when you're feeling alone, when you're feeling like, because we all have those moments. We all have those bullshit thoughts where you think that you're alone or that no one's going to show up and no one's going to be there. And here's the thing, like, no one's going to save you. It's got to be you that saves you. Um, but that doesn't mean that others can't help in the process. And that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be times where you require others to help, like throw out the hand to lift you up so that you can do things again. Um, and that's in all aspects in life. That's in the hard moments, but that's also in the moments where it's like, I don't know how I'm going to be in 6 places at one time. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do that. You don't have to do that. You just have to ask. You have to ask for help and also be willing to help the people who helped you. Simple. It's a simple concept. Hard though, especially if you were taught, like we talked about at the beginning, if you were taught that you were wrong for asking for help or for needing something, or for if you were wrong for having bad feelings, hard feelings, big feelings, it'll be very hard for you to ask for that help and to reach out. But I will tell you, I really hope that you don't have to go through a life altering death in order to switch to ask for help. Please don't let it go that far. You are worthy of help even when it's not like the hardest thing on the planet. You are worthy of that help. So don't wait until something major happens in order to ask for help. But sometimes that is the thing that makes you go, oh, I guess I do need help. I guess I do have to reach out. I guess I can't do this on my own. Um, so do with that what you will. If you're listening to this and you're like, I know exactly who my people are, reach out to them and just say thank you. It's one of the sweetest things to do, and I love it when people do it to me. They're like, hey, you helped me through this moment, you had no idea. Or hey, that podcast episode really hit for me and it was something I needed to hear. I love when people do that because it words of affirmation is my number one love language, so it hits. But I love reaching out to my people and being like, hey, thank you for this. Like, thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for, like, my best friends sent flowers to the funeral for my dad from Texas, because obviously we all couldn't fly to or to Wisconsin at the same time together, but they showed up in their own way. And I FaceTimed them crying. Thank you so much. Like, it's thank you and gratitude is one of the most powerful things. And when you can provide that, especially post somebody helping you, that's when you start to heal from the fear of asking for help. And that's how you start to realize like we're meant to do this life together and not apart. So there's some people that think I'm superwoman and think that I do it all on my own. I don't. I won't even claim that I do. I even at the event on Friday when all the things were going on, I couldn't even get my own earrings into my ear. Like I required help. So uh like you require help and it is okay. Ask for help from your people. Show up. And also, you may be thinking, like, Tamika, where are you going? What event do you have today that you are dressing up like this? Life. Life is, if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't even know what she looks like. I'm wearing a fabulous zebra outfit, big ears, because I forgot that there was once a time where I would romanticize a random Tuesday by dressing up and being whimsical, like my friend Chelsea Rose says, bring the whimsy back into life. And so that is what I am doing. I'm wearing a fancy dress and big earrings that I got from Rose and Rivets, and I'm off to romanticize my life today. I'm bringing the whimsy back, the happy back, and I'm going to be out here in these streets a whole time. So connect with your people,